Hey there, it's Jody Sutter of the Sutter Company, and it's Just Ask Jody. It's that time when I take a question from an agency around an issue they're having with business development, and I'll answer that question in 4 minutes or less. And today the question is, how can an agency owner be less involved in the sales process? With this question, I may not have a popular answer because the short answer is they can't. And then I would challenge back for anyone who's asking that question. I might reverse the question back to you and say, why would you want to? I know that sometimes selling puts us into situations where we have to have challenging conversations about scope and budget and price, challenging conversations that ask us to probe for underlying issues with the client so that we can respond to them better, or to challenge the client's assumptions. But the more you can master your skills in that area, the more that you are going to be able to the more that you'll be able to master sales. I think you will see an increase in your close rate. The other thing about the sales process is when you are involved, intricately and intimately involved with your prospects, you are building a relationship with them from the start. And that builds trust. They start to know and like you, and that's a really important part, a really important component in winning business. So I'm really curious about why you'd want to be less involved in the sales process. As we said, if it's about some sort of underlying fear or sense of vulnerability, that can be addressed. If it's because you feel like there are more important things going on at your agency that need your attention, I'd probably argue back, and I'm obviously biased as a business development person, but I'd argue back that how can sales not be the number one priority for you, if not in the top 3? Maybe there are other things that can be delegated. But I get it. The owners of small agencies have huge demands on their time. So it would be really nice to be less involved in some aspects of the sales process. And this is where I want to emphasize the word process, because every process is a set of repeatable steps that ideally have the same positive outcome. And so there are things in the sales process that are going to be different. Those personal conversations, the situation, there are going to be things that are difficult to disassociate you from. But there are also probably things that are easy to delegate. Things like scheduling, things like formatting documents, things like putting together the first draft of a response to an RFP or the first draft of presentation slides. And maybe you're already doing some of those things, but if you feel like you don't have a well-defined process for sales at your agency, that might be the first step, to codify that and then start to identify where you can delegate, where it allows you to be less involved in the sales process. But please don't offload that very, very important role that you play of relationship building with the client that's going to hire you. That's it for this Just Ask Jody. If you've got a question you'd like me to answer, you can email it to me at jody@thesuttercompany.com, and I'll see you next time.